Hey, what's up, everybody? So, we got a little bit of a bottom formation, it looks like here. So, we're looking at each bar, but it doesn't matter what you look at. You could look at theta, it looks pretty much the same. You could look at SHIB, right? It looks the same. So, for example, SHIB, you can see, and even chain link. If you look at chain link, right? If you focus on this correction right here and you look at, for example, theta or H bar, even XRP, right? They all look pretty similar. So we'll start with XRP. So if you notice, you can kind of see we're starting to get a little bit of a bottom in here. Now, there's no guarantee that it's in. I would like to see us break that high before we get too excited. But here's the thing. I feel like we're going to go up, but are we going to go and get, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5A? Are we going up for a B wave, right? Which then inevitably will give you some kind of C wave. Then you go up, right? Is that what we're doing? That certainly looks like what we're doing. Or is this some kind of, for example, just a falling wedge type of correction, and instead of having A, B, C, or A, B, C like a running flat, right? It could be a regular flat, expanded flat, or running flat, right? Are we not doing any ABC, and instead of, going into the retrace, we break out, right? As opposed to having something like that. So which one's it going to be? Is it the blue way or is it the red path? That's what I'd really like to figure out. So yeah, so if we look at theta, same kind of thing. One thing is for sure though, it looks like it looks like it has bottomed. It looks like we got some bullish divergence here. Let's see on the smaller time frames. Actually, wow, that is major bullish divergence on the small. If you notice this there, right, and that there, that's pretty bullish. So is this, for example, A and then B and then you have a C? So maybe this is our A, B, C, right? And we don't need 3 down, 3 up, 3 back down, then go like a regular WXY or ABC. But rather, this is all you get, and then you kind of have, or actually it would end here, and then you have a 1, looks like a ABC2, then you go 3, 4, 5, and then you just continue higher. Or are we going to get up here and go down for the C wave, then continue higher? Well, it all depends what the retrace levels look like. The first order of business for all the cryptos is getting back into the retrace levels. So for Theta, that would be about $1. So let's see how the price reacts when it gets up there. Well, what if it doesn't go up there? What if we keep going down? Well, then what is the case? Well, then if we keep going down, then I would say that what we would have would be kind of like 1, 2. This would be 3. And this whole thing right here, the whole thing is a 4. Just like how this was a 3-wave shape. This is a 3-wave shape, right? And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So that could be the case. That could be the case. I don't like it as much. I mean, right now it doesn't look like that. It looks a little bit bullish right in here. So we'll see how it plays out. But it looks decent. Let's look at another chart here. SHIB looks good. Look at SHIB. You got a bullish hammer candle. It's definitely pumping right now. But yeah, basically it's the same idea here, right? So, is this, some kind of, let's see, it's a little bit different here. So some kind of 3-wave move, right? Definitely looks like you have a bottom in here as well. Boom, 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 right? You definitely have 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 5 waves, and then you even have 6 and 7, right? So one thing is for sure, I believe this wave right here is finished, and this wave here is something else. It could also be, unfortunately, a triangle, right? It could be like A, and then you get B, and then C, and then D, and then E, you know, some kind of triangle, and then get the fifth wave. So it'd be like 1, 2, all of that's 3, then you have a fourth wave triangle, then you go down for 5. And then you would go back up in 3, and then back down in 5, and then that would be the big 3-wave correction. Because when you look at Bitcoin, that's kind of how it seems. But I was looking at it recently, it actually looks like it's not finished yet. It looks like it still wants more. Look at it. Look at that's a beautiful thing. So you got 3 waves down, you got 3 waves up, or actually you got 3 waves up, and then you have 3 waves back down in a weird flat. So the X and the Y are flats. Actually, the A is a flat too. So you have an A or a W flat, an X flat, and a Y flat. And this looks like a 1, 2. Look at the bullish engulfing candle. Oh my God. 20 seconds to go, guys. 18, 17. We have this 4-hour candle is about to have the highest 4-hour candle close since way back over here in, what was that? Back in January. So actually, 3, 2, 1, boom, we did it. We confirmed this was the highest 4-hour candle close. So we're going to put a line, and we're going to look left, and we're going to see we're probably going to get a pullback. A little bit of a pullback. We've been pumping up on the small time frames pretty. Look at that. Look at the 5-minute chart here. So, you know, it looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it could be finished, right? It could be done. It could be that could be your fifth there. But let's take a line and let's go back to the 4-hour, and let's look and see. So the candle closed right there. Okay, that's perfect. Now if we go back and look left, you can see we closed above all of that. So there's only 2 other candles in Bitcoin's entire history that closed higher than that. So this is the 3rd highest 4-hour candle close in the history of Bitcoin, the 3rd. So this would be 1, and that little guy right there would be 2. So it's really like tied for 2nd place, honestly. So this is the highest Bitcoin has ever been in its entire life, right? We are literally back at the all-time highs, okay? Like we are literally right there. We're like less than $1,000 away, or actually maybe a couple thousand away from basically new all-time highs. So the question is this still a flat, right? Because it could still be, this whole thing could still be 3 waves, right? So we could have, for example, 3 down, and then this is 3 up like this. So boom, boom, and then boom. And then in the 3, you can see 3 there, you see 3 there, right? So like, for example, it would be, let's see, boom, and then you have, yeah, see, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah, it would just have to be, if it was, see, that's what I'm trying to rule out the bearish, but if you notice, it could be 3 like this, right? And then you have 3 down, and then you have 3 up, so you have 3 up, 3 down, and then 3 back up. So again, 3 there, you have 3 there, and then you have 3 here. So that could be 3, right? So if this is 3 down and this is 3 up, maybe that's it, right? And we still have to come back down like this, and it becomes a bigger correction before going up. This looks like it could be, it could potentially be a fake out in here, only because of how corrective this looks, right? But if it's a triangle A, B, C, D, E, right? And then see, it doesn't work because you took the low right here. So I was going to say this could be A, B, C, D, E, and then you have a 1, 2, but the 1, 2 broke the low, so that doesn't work. If it didn't break the low, we could have ourselves a 1, 2 here. So yeah, it's definitely a tricky one, especially since where we are. And then the other issue is we already have 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be that this is playing out as a flat before we go up, right? So maybe we have to flag out a little bit, and that was my initial thought in yesterday's video, is probably need to flag out in here, and I still think that. But you know, the recent 4-hour candle, I mean, you can't deny that was a pretty high close there, and it looks relatively still bullish. So I would say this: if we start breaking below that low, that's when I'm like, okay, then yeah, it looks like a flat. But if we hold this low right here, right? Well, especially this low. If you know, if this low breaks, you know, maybe, but if this low breaks, for sure, it's a flat. So boom, boom, boom. And here's another idea too that I didn't consider is, what if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That was wave 4, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an ending diag for the 5th wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your 5th for the ending diag, and and now we're gonna start flagging out. Right? And then go up higher. So that could also be a case, and it's like, man, which one is it? It's tricky. I know. Well, welcome to my world, right? It is tricky, exactly. It's a tough one, right? So there's no definitive answer. You just have to track the small time frames and watch what it does, and then rule out what it's not, and then narrow down what it could be, and then wait for confirmation. So it's not, TA isn't about having the answer right away. It's about narrowing down the answer over time. That's a big difference. But honestly, you know, the 12-hour candle is still, there's no reason I need to be bearish yet, except for this 3-wave-ish sort of this bearish, or this 3-wave corrective behavior, right? So I would much rather it be a simple range like this. You break out of the range, you come back and you retest in the range, you break out of the range again, and then you back test the top, and then now you have follow through. So it looks solid. It looks really, really solid. You know, for all we know, it could be 1, 2, and then all of this is the 3rd, right? Or we're still in the 3rd. For example, you could have 1, 2, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of that's wave 3. So 1, 2, all of that's 3, and then you flag out for a 4, and then get 5. So, but you know, you still have this shoulder, you got this head, you're right in that retrace, you're right at that level. So it would make sense. That's what I just don't really believe that we're going to break out right now. If we do, hey, that's great. I'll be like, whoa. But it just seems to me that it would make more sense, you know, since you have this shoulder here, and since you're right at basically the all-time high, you have a top, a double top, a triple top. What if we had to pull back and get another shoulder going on before then continuing? So that's why I have a lot of caution here, right? I don't want to be too optimistic. Say, yeah, we're ready to go and it looks good. But it does look good. But the thing is, you know, you're right here. And it's like we have to wait, you know, here's what I'll say. If, you know, because today's Tuesday, we're getting into the bullish parts of the week. Wednesdays and Thursdays have typically the most volatile days as far as trend goes. So Wednesday and Thursday, I would say if we have a 12-hour candle that's breaking above that first black line and this black line right there, because that would be the close. If we start entering, if we close in or above this area on a daily or 12-hour candle, it's going to be pretty convincing that we still have more upside, right? So I'm sure you're getting bearish divergence though, right? You're getting bearish divergence on the smaller time frames. Even on the daily, you're starting to get bearish divergence. So gotta be a little bit careful in here. But what gives me a lot of bullishness still, right? And I'm bullish no matter what, but rather if we have to flag out or we break out and then flag out up here, right? So is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or are these the subwaves of the fifth or the third? But what's giving me more bullishness is the altcoins, because if you look at the altcoins, you know, you have this beautiful three-wave correction here, and it looks like it's finished, right? You definitely have the right amount of waves. You got bullish divergence. But what do we need? We need a 5-wave move off the low. Do we have it? Yes. Look, we have a diet. We have a broadening wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a broadening structure in here. So typically, after that, you would get an A, which we have. And then you would go up in a B, which we haven't done yet. And then you would come down and get a C and tag that trend line, right? And then continue up in that third wave. So that's the main idea. You have a shoulder, you have a head, you have another shoulder. So if we put them both kind of side by side here, all right, and we'll mark the low. So obviously that's the low down there, right? So now we know what our wave looks like. Both of them are 5 waves. So the question is, if we have to do ABC, right? Let's see. Let me draw it like this so it makes more sense. A, and then we'll go up B, and then C, something like that, and then go up, right? How would that translate to Bitcoin, right? So we have that move there, so it would be boom boom. So yeah, so if that came down, came back up, and then came back down, we would have something like that, right? Which would equal what this is. So that's my main idea right there. That's what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking something like this. But I'm not sure if Bitcoin needs another push up, right? So, okay, now it starts to make sense. So if near, not just near, I can look at anything else. Let's take another chart here to be fair. Let's look at Chainlink. All right, Chainlink is definitely a very popular crypto. So, and it looks exactly the same. So that's why it doesn't matter which one I use. But if we look at Chainlink here, right? And Chainlink looks like here. So here's the deal with Chainlink. And let me zoom in. So the issue with Chainlink is, I don't know if this is 1, 2, 3, and then this is a flat, and for a 4, and then we're going to get 5. If that's the case, then I would expect a retrace. Now, if we get that retrace, how does it look for Bitcoin, right? So if we go back to Bitcoin real quick, go to the 4-hour, it would make sense. Yeah, and you can see it's already kind of getting a little bit of a rejection there. So there's 2 ideas for Link. One is that this is A, B, C, and that's 3 down, and then the idea would be a continuation or a 3-wave retrace. So let's just stick with the retrace for now. So if we're going to get a move up in a retrace, then that means we should get a move up for Bitcoin, and that would mean we would have another push up, right? So then once we push up, and then that's when Bitcoin starts to flag out, well, then that's when Chainlink would get the C wave, A, B, C, and then go up, and then they both go up at the same time. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here as we plug this all in together. So, you know, because this wave is not sustainable. You need a counter wave, something bigger than this correction, something bigger than this correction, and something bigger than this correction, because all those corrections are all in the same degree of time. We need something like 2 or 3 times bigger than all of those, right? Which is going to suck because it's going to take a while for it to correct. But we're going to need this little pause to reset the momentum, so that when we do break out, we have enough gasoline in the tank to get us as high as we possibly can. Versus we don't have to. It could just keep pushing up, and then that's when the bear market starts, right? It would be less sustainable versus if we flagged out from here. But the reason I'm very bullish is because of what I'm looking at here on Chainlink and SHIB and Theta. You got this beautiful diagonal here. It looks like you're flagging out. Now again, we can push up and get another wave, and that would be considered a 5-wave move. You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would flag out and then go, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Get a little bit of a flag here, testing and holding the neckline before going up. So which one's it going to be? It's a tough one to say right now. But the altcoins are definitely weak compared to Bitcoin, for sure. You could see Bitcoin. That's not what I want. You can see Bitcoin pumping here. Look at that. Look at this pump. This pump right here was big. This is small. You could see they both had a dump, but look at Bitcoin. It had a big pump up, but nothing for the alts. So if Bitcoin comes down, then this can continue down. You know what I mean? So it sucks that the alts have to depend on Bitcoin. Hopefully we get regulations really quick and it's signed into law, and there's no denying it anymore, right? But at the end of the day, what matters? The big picture. And what does the big picture say? The big picture says we should get back up here. So how we get there, we can get there like this. We can get there many different ways. Probably for me, it would be something like this. You'd get stuck in there, maybe pull back, and then come back up. So that would be the way I would imagine it, right? And then from there, we would flag out. So XRP, same thing with XRP. The correction looks very similar here. I'm just not sure if that's like a triangle, like 1, 2, 3, 4th wave triangle, hit the low, then get your retrace. Or is it A, B, C? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, and then you're going to start up for a B and then get the C and then go. So just need some time to see how this range plays out. I would really like it for it to retrace now rather than come down and then retrace later. SHIB looks good. Yeah, Theta was pumping and then it turned around here. yeah, you could see that 5-way move here. You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So what if, okay, you got 3 down, you got 3 up, and you got 5 down. Or that's 5, and then you're going to get one of these guys like this, and then one of those, and one of like that. And then go up. And it'd be WXY. So, but it does look really, I like the way it looks for sure. It looks bullish right here. You broke out of the downward resistance line here above the falling wedge. You had this 3-wave retest. You pumped up and pulled back again. So while maintaining this base down in here, that little base right there, as long as we stay above those 2 lines, basically this area, I think we're doing really good. So if we can build a base and build structure and build support here, then I would imagine us getting back up sooner rather than later. So it's the same thing with all the other coins. ICP, it looks basically the same. So let's see if we get that retrace. If we don't, if we start coming down, then that means that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get a 5th wave down. But if we got that, it would be very high confidence that for buying the dip. For sure, I would be buying the dip here. Because now we have 5, and then I would expect 3. So, but hopefully we could just do that now. But yeah, it's looking good. I mean, we're still pumping here. We're still pumping for ICP, Filecoin, Algo looks good. Algo looks pretty good. So is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, and then now we're going to go up in a B, and then get a C like that, right? And then go up, and then you have like your shoulder, your head, and then that develops that other shoulder. I mean, certainly, right? So we'll see if we could break this high, or if we get a retrace and then break the high later. So if it's something like that. So which one's it going to be? Remember, this is not financial advice. These are just ideas. We're just trying to think about things and figure it out. So, but man, it looks pretty good right here. Bitcoin on the small time frames, pulling back. Okay, so I think that should be it. Dogecoin looks interesting. You kind of have A, B, and then C. And then you have a 1. And then maybe a triangle for a 2. Or even 3 down. You get 3 up. And then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. And then that's your 2. So 1, A, B, C, 2. And then go up. I like that one too. So... But the point is like, well, which one is it? Well, the point is how you're positioning yourself for the bigger move that's yet to come, which is, in my opinion, to the upside. So rather, it doesn't really matter which short-term idea it is, because it's all about how we're positioning ourselves for that bigger move, despite not knowing exactly how it's going to play in the short term. Even though we've got a pretty good idea of how it will play out. So, yeah, this looks, I mean, just look at this. This is impulsive. This is corrective. This is channeling to the downside. So eventually, I'm pretty certain that it should break to the upside. It's just the way it goes. And then from there, do we continue from there, or do we have a C wave and then continue? We don't know until we get up here. So, all right, that should do it. I don't think there's anything else. Ethereum, I like Ethereum. You know, you have this three-way move, right? It looks like a 1-2, 1-2. So let's go for that third wave. I mean, we could be at the verge here. I don't like the way that looks. So, anyways, XDC is dumping here. So yeah, that should be it for now. So yeah, I mean, you got it, for ICP, you got what appears to be 5 waves. So it makes sense for us to get a retrace. So that's kind of what I'm thinking now. Now, whatever happens here, do we get C then go, or do we flag then go, or rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways? So there's a lot that could happen up here. But you have point A, point B, looking for point C. And then we'll go from there. So, all right. Yeah, not financial advice, just ideas that we can try to use to work on and to rule out what it isn't, and just keep tracking the small time frames. So anyways, I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.